What's good, y'all? I think this is going to be one of those videos where I'm going to title it and I'm going to apply, I guess, a reasonable description to it after the video's done. I don't know how I'm going to title this, but it's going to be linked to the past video. Like this has relevance to the video that I made last time. So this is going to be inspired by something that I guess I've talked about to other people before, and that is the fact that I don't really get enjoyment out of things. Not really enjoyment out of things in a sense to where I'm depressed, but even though depression can happen sometimes, in general, it's just I don't really get a whole lot of enjoyment out of things, right? So this is why I'm saying like it's linked to that past video, right? Monotony, all that other sorts of stuff. But if you're familiar with like Lacan or whatever, right? In Lacan's theory, you have desire and you have jouissance, right? So the whole point of Lacanian psychoanalysis is to try and get you to desire things for yourself instead of having desires dictated by, whether it be the name of the father or the other with a big O, trying to have your own desire, right? And I've pretty much have gotten to a place to where I have my own desires, right? I desire things for myself. There's not really any connection to me desiring something primarily based around other people. Now, if we were to say that our desires are entirely our own, I think for most that would be a lie, because, our experiences and our interactions with other people convey what we like and what we dislike. So others do play a part in our desires. It's not purely just ourselves, but as a primary impetus, it's still me dictating what I like about those interactions. So it's still myself, and I've gotten to a place to where I'm in that modus operandi. The problem is that there's not really a whole lot that I do desire. And not only is there a whole lot that I don't really desire like that, but, another term within Lacan, jouissance, where, jouissance is when you're caught up in a particular effect of a behavior. And it doesn't just have to be pleasure. Like there could be a jouissance of pain. There could be a jouissance of pleasure. There could be a jouissance of asceticism. But it's when you're caught up in the feeling of a particular flux of energy and emotion. Now, there might be semantics in this. One could play a semantic game and say that, jouissance essentially can't really be, you can't really not have jouissance, because, for that type of person, their jouissance might be the feeling of not having jouissance. That might be the thing that they're caught up in. But we're not going to stick to those semantics. We're going to just say that I don't really experience jouissance. We're going to stay on that language game just to make it easier for myself. So I don't really experience a flux of anything. When I'm caught up in something, I don't really experience that much of a flux. Now, when I'm working out or whatever, I experience a flux. And, I experienced a flux recently because, for some reason I decided to say, hey, I've gotten pretty proficient at the workout routines that I've been doing, and I'm not the type of person to change them up too much. I might do it a different way, but I do the same movement patterns, really. I'm always gonna do a squat. I'm always gonna do a press or whatever. I'm always gonna do a vertical pull. it's just like I might change the way that, I initiate the movement, but I stick to the same movements. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy some rings. So I went to Academy because that was the only store that sold gymnastic rings, and I got me some gymnastic rings, and I put them up on my pull-up tower, where I got like a little, calisthenics tower. You got like the dip bar, push-up bar, pull-up bar, whatever. I took my dip bars off. I took my captain chair off so that I could have room to do like my ring exercises on. And I was, I did my ring exercises. Of course, the desire was there. I got the calisthenic rings. I was enticed to get them. I was drawn to get them. I had the plan set out. And then once I got into it, it was over with. Once I got into it, it was, I was very, I don't know how to describe it. It was a positive feeling that I got from it, right? It was a positive feeling that I got from using the rings. And then on top of that, I sucked at them. Like there's so much improvement that I need to make. And that made me like it even more, the fact that I suck at them, because I can squeeze even more enjoyment out of them through the fact that like I have like this entire length of progress that I have to make, and in that entire length of progress, every increment of progress that I make, I'm going to be able to squeeze out that much more enjoyment. But in life, I don't really get that, because everything is either ambivalent or, like I said, it's just the amount of things that are out there aren't desirous for me. People aren't that desirous, or desiring, however that word is. I don't know which word would be appropriate for that. Like, people aren't alluring. Activities and events around me aren't that alluring. No, I don't find anything alluring in life, really. Like, it's very few things. And of course, there's things that I view as important that have meaning, but they don't really carry the things that I view as important, that have meaning, and that I think really contribute to the world and that I feel called to do. They don't really have that libidinal character that I'm looking for when it comes to pleasure. Like, they have, like, there's a form of pleasure that they have, and it has their place. But I'm at a point in life to where, like, I want a real, like I was saying with like the working out, like that's your body, like that's your muscles going through stress, your nervous system reprogramming itself through like new movements or an increased strain from previous movements. Like that's the body undergoing a change and feeling itself. That's the body experience, and that it has a character. But I don't really have I don't really see no outlets for that around me. One may say sports. I don't like sports, right? I don't like sports or anything like that. The few places where you can go are just not that optimistic. Like we be having like a fair every year, and like just I don't like that space. I don't like that space. So there's really not a whole lot of areas. And then like the most common thing that you'll hear from people is, well, you just have to experiment. You just have to see what's out there. And they use it in a very positive, gaslighting way. Like they use it in a way to where like there's false positivity in the response, and then there's gaslighting in the response. Like there's false positivity in the response to where they're trying to paint a positive picture to a dilemma that they don't know the 100% on. And then on top of that, they're gaslighting you into thinking that you don't know what you're saying. You don't know what you're looking at when you do know what you're looking at. Because you're the one experiencing it. And it's not like you're experiencing something new and you're just half-assing and saying like, well, I only experienced this one time, so this is how it is. No, you know, you've had this same feeling over and over and over again. So of course you know what you're talking about. And for me, it's the same, like it's just that same thing over and over and over again of just like there not being that real joy that I want. And the thing with it, and I'm for some reason keep going to Lacan. I think it's just because I've read him recently, is that, you know, you have neurosis and, you know, you get out of neurosis, but a further problem comes when, okay, you've gotten out of your neurosis and you're desiring things for yourself. What happens when you don't gain any pleasure? When you consume the object of your desire and you don't get any pleasure out of it, what is life then? You know, that's really the problem that I'm having right now. Is the objects. There's really one is there's too few objects of my desire. So what does that say about me as a subject? How do I move as a subject that doesn't experience a whole lot of pleasure? Like what is life for that type of individual, really? You know, that's really about it, guys. This was just one of those videos. I just had to like get this thought out, and I don't think this thought is going to be a thought that really matters all too much, but I just had to place it somewhere, right? I didn't want to keep placing it in my freaking audio recordings. Like I have like an audio journal. Didn't want to put it there. Like I said, I have no one to talk to, so this was it. But anyways, bye.